Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Rated T for TTRPG, where we have got another fantastic Reddit story to share with you guys. And Alyssa has read it this time, so she's going to go ahead and read it back to us. And Alyssa, do you have any warnings, any pre-recollections that you'd like
Um,
to give to us about this story before we get into it?
no, it's just pretty funny. I don't think there's anything bad.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hear it.
All right. I actually don't have the time.
Oh,
Hold on. You're
wait,
gonna have
wait,
to
okay,
cut
no,
this
no, I
out.
remember the title because I did read that, which was The Worst GM I Have Ever Met.
Okay, I was like, I did not copy that. But anyways, says the worst GM I've ever played with was probably me. That part, like the fact he's calling himself out is so funny to me.
He's the dungeon
Yeah,
master? Oh, this is already off to a great
yeah.
start.
I could come up with more entertaining or extreme stories about other people, but as far as being consistently meh at best, it's probably me.
Oh,
That's so I love that he's calling like just because like most people don't call themselves out.
I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to see because it could just be like if you're being super down on yourself, I'm inclined to want to say give yourself some credit because I
Yeah.
also contend to think that I'm the worst dungeon master I've ever met. But maybe your players feel otherwise and heed what other people say about you.
Yes. Most of it goes back to one central flaw. My thought process went like, I think X is cool, so I will put X in the game. I never really put much thought into it or into if anybody else thought it was cool, and most importantly, if it would be fun at the table. There was no malice in it, just basic cluelessness. Some examples. I designed a super deadly realistic, it says realistic, combat system for a homebrew fantasy game.
Oh no. Just don't play 5e at that point if
Oh
you're going to
god.
completely revamp the combat
Yeah.
system.
Everybody wants realism in their fantasy, right? In the first attack of the first fight, a guy took a spear through the head and died. Another person lost an arm in the same session. I thought it was badass. I'm not a
Oh
fat
no.
lisping guy, but the stereotypical bad DM in my head is always a fat lisping guy for some reason. So he says badass.
But that's why it was spelt weird because
Yeah,
he's like badass. Oh
I just
no.
couldn't. I know at first I was like, what is that? No,
That's how he's putting in a
yeah,
lisp.
no, that makes sense now.
You will see that we have the uh the manuscript from Reddit over here,
Yes.
and you can see how he chose to try and spell "ath" with a lisp.
Yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt, if you will.
I ran a sandbox style campaign for people who had only played adventures where the GM led them around by the nose. At no point did I communicate to them effectively that the expectation was that they would make decisions and I would plan based on that. The worst part was that the introductory session was sort of a railroad, so I had actually set the expectation that they should do the opposite of what I wanted. Believe it or not, people lost interest in the campaign, fizzled out.
I'm shocked.
This was the early 2000s, and we didn't know what a session zero was.
Oh, okay. So this is also like pre
Yeah,
5e, so this is
yep.
old. Okay. All right.
Uh,
It's not terrible. At least
yeah,
you're playing. You're
yeah.
learning, right? It sounds like he's learning.
I don't see anything, like, honestly too bad yet. Like, it
Yeah.
just seems, yeah, like, first time. A battered and weary party emerged from a deadly dungeon venture only to have a group of thieves steal their treasure soon as they got to town because it was a cool lead and I love if it's cool. Every time he's like trying to give himself compliments, it's like sarcastic.
I'm being
Cool,
cool right
yeah.
now.
Because it was a cool lead in for the next adventure. Fair enough, that works structurally, but it was sort of an emotional slap in the face and a real failure to read the
I'm observant enough to realize when I've fucked up, but I'm not observant enough to
Oh my
learn how to
god.
not do it again.
Yeah.
Oh no.
As a player, I could be just as bad. Once the guy who was always a problem player for every GM decided to run a game. He badgered me until I agreed to play. I tried to get out of it by declaring, I will only play if I can be a monkey in a vintage armored car that has a turret mounted rocket launcher. His name will be Dinosaur Jr. What?
I will only play in your game if you allow me to be the most chaotic player you will ever meet.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you are destined to be
Yeah.
a dungeon master. That's how it works.
This has never failed to get me out of a game. He agreed. LOL, what? I then went out of my way to be a pain in the ass in every way I could think of, including but not limited to causing a nuclear reactor to melt down during one of my outbursts of firing rockets at whatever caught my attention. I could argue that this was payback, but I ruined the session for everybody else at the table too. Oh my god.
This man lives on
He
chaos.
loves chaos. I mean, I kind of like it. That's kind of cool, but at the
Yeah,
same
we would be
time,
able to have fun with you as
yeah,
a player, OP.
yeah,
We'd deal with your shenanigans.
yeah.
However, I'm not running that in a fantasy world. We are definitely doing that.
Oh no.
Maybe you have some vintage car in Eberron, but yeah, I'm not putting that in Dungeons and Dragons base 5e lore.
It says, I was really bad about letting a single player monopolize my time as long as what they wanted to do was badass. As he put that. I put badass because I
Still
knew I was gonna
badass.
forget. Um I could go on, but you get the idea. In my defense, I was pretty young during most of these events. I have to admit, I was way older in a "I'm done with this shit" stage during the armored car incident. So yeah, worst GM I've had to deal with, this guy.
Me, I'm the
Oh,
worst, and I
oh my
want to share
god.
that with you.
I don't know. He doesn't sound bad though. Like,
It honestly, it just sounds like your typical game between kids. Like,
yeah.
I need to know, OP, how old were you when you were doing this? Because it might not be that shocking. We did some crazy. I mean, I played as a squirrel when I was in high school that ran immediately into an orb of annihilation and died instantly because that's how that works. And it's just all fun and games. We would constantly make a new campaign every single time we would come together to play and never continue from the last campaign. It's how the youths play.
I think, yeah, I don't think it's bad at all. I think this, although maybe this guy's just reminiscing on times.
Yeah, yeah. I think you should reclassify yourself as the most chaotic dungeon master
Yes,
you've ever met. Because I
exactly.
don't know, would you have had fun in this guy's
Yeah,
games? Yeah, me too. I would have had a blast.
I don't, yeah, I wish we could play with him. That's what I was thinking when
Yeah,
reading this.
yeah. Just I'm gonna just roll with all your punches. Oh, the bandits stole all of our money after we cleared the dungeon. I'm gonna go murk those
Yes,
bandits hard.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, what did you think of that story?
This was funny, first of all, because he was like, bad ads. And two,
Yeah.
I
Opie said that he wasn't the fat lisping dungeon master, but you painted the picture like you might be. So
yes. And two, I thought this guy was cool as hell. I'm like, there's no way he's a bad dungeon master the way he was describing it.
yeah, I think you get our stamp of approval as a dungeon master, OP.
Absolutely.
So you better keep playing and keep dungeon mastering
Yes.
and keep learning, giving people a great time. But
Oh,
is that all we've got from the story?
yeah, there was no edits or anything.
Well, what did you think, Serenity? Would you be a player at this Dungeon Master's table? I think you would. You'd be at any table
She
where
said
you get
yes.
some
Look at
attention,
her.
huh?
Look at her. She said yes.
Well, definitely let us know, guys, down in the comments below. Would you play at OP's table, or would
Yes.
you have ran away and let it fizzle out just like he said his players did? And until next time, don't forget to lick that like button and subscribe!